Hey YouTube, Joyboy here. So today I have an update to a theory that I've done in the past, and this theory related to Big Mom's intel network. Basically, Big Mom is painted as a character who knows pretty much everything. And so the question for us is, how does she obtain this information? And the answer is a lot simpler than I think a lot of people initially believed, and almost seems really obvious now looking back at it from chapter 839. But regardless, there are some updates that I want to make to this theory because I've speculated something very similar to what I'm going to in this video, but much more definitive now with a particular piece of evidence that I overlooked in chapter 834. So without further ado, let's just get right into this. So firstly, this question was brought about mainly because Big Mom knew that Luffy arrived onto her islands on Totland. She knew this. And this still to this day hasn't been made blatantly clear to us how she knows this, only that she does. And so I think I know exactly why she knows this now, but in the past I speculated based on some other observations and then a video made specifically by Straw Hat Evie, in which it was possible that because of the creations Big Mom brings to life, that these creations can somehow telepathically communicate to Big Mom and then basically give her information while not necessarily actually having to go to her directly. But this has basically been proven false in the last couple chapters because we can see Big Mom conversing with her hat, which her hat also seems to be brought to life by her powers. And so if she could telepathically communicate with her hat, then she wouldn't actually need to have a conversation asking for updates about certain events through her hat. She would just already know. So pretty much at this point in time, that thought has been debunked. But the more simple idea that she does actually receive intel from all the creations she's brought to life has not been debunked, and actually I found some awesome evidence which really supports this idea. Going into chapter 834, there's something that Brook says, which is a clue panel drawing us to the overall mystery surrounding how does Big Mom know everything that's going on around her. And in this panel, there's some very suspicious details going on in the foreground or the background that give us the answer, I believe. So guys, here's the panel, and this is what Brook says. How could they possibly be this well informed about our movements? They've clearly been keeping tabs on us from the very beginning, which is something that we already knew. And then he says, how could they have gathered all this intel so effortlessly? And so again, this is the clue panel suggesting us to the overall mystery. But then look at this panel and then look at the sunflowers that are observing Brook and Pedro and observing what Brook is saying. They are Big Mom's creations that have been brought to life, and I believe this is Oda being very obvious about how Big Mom does this by including this method in the actual panel which discusses the mystery. I honestly can't believe that I just noticed this and I didn't notice this earlier. It blows my mind, but this is pretty much as obvious as it gets. And so we've seen Big Mom's creations and they're pretty much everywhere, and they can do a good job of blending into the environment as we could see in the forest if they wanted to. They can be the ground, they can be the flowers, they can be the trees, they can be everything around you. And so if you're having a conversation or you have arrived on Big Mom's islands and you're talking about something that you shouldn't, then chances are you're going to reveal something to these things that are constantly around you that could eventually end up getting to Big Mom. And this is the secret, at least, to how Big Mom knows everything that goes on within her islands. So there are three important things that I want to talk about when it comes to this, which is, I have a speculation right now that Capone will really do something against Big Mom in the near future relating to the wedding and basically set the Vinsmoke and the Big Mom pirates against each other. And so if Big Mom knows pretty much everything, then that would go against the idea that Capone would even be capable of doing such a thing, given that if she knows, then she would prevent it. And so I want to say this, which is that if you know how Big Mom's territories work, then you would be careful not to reveal any information without being sure that there aren't any homies nearby to overhear you. So this is an advantage that Capone has, and an advantage that the Straw Hats did not have as they arrived to Totlin. Another important thing is that it seems as though before this point in time in the story, the Big Mom Pirates were not aware as to where Pedro and Brook were. And basically they knew that they had separated from the other Straw Hats at some point in time, but they didn't know where they were. So it's interesting that the Sunflowers overheard this conversation, and potentially now Big Mom has some idea as to where Pedro and Brook are, which is among the residents of her main island, Whole Cake Island. Potentially leading to some situation in which Big Mom actually finds and then confronts, or her subordinates confronts, Pedro and Brook. While this seems kind of a little bit of a stretch right now, because it seems as though they have successfully infiltrated her castle, having hid within a Cracker soldier, but still, maybe this is all part of some sort of trap, given that the Sunflowers do know exactly where, or not exactly, but in general where Brook and Pedro were as of this scene. Additionally, we have a line from Baron Tamago in which he states that he has a good idea of where Pedro might show up. And then given sort of Pedro's interest in finding the Road Poneglyph and his past history trying to steal it, I think that this highly suggests that they know that Pedro is going to be potentially trying to steal the Road Poneglyph, which would also suggest that they would have some sort of defensive measures in place to confront them if they tried to do that. And so since that's still their plan and that's still what they're going to do, I see no situation in which it's possible that they arrive and easily obtain this Road Poneglyph and then meet up again with Luffy and Nami and the others. That definitely there will be somebody waiting for them in the the Poneglyph room or wherever it's being kept. This could have been where Big Mom set her trap. And the last thing that I want to talk about is related to the very last theory that I did, which is that I believe, and I think a lot of people in general believe, that Cracker has already been defeated. And so, you can look into those videos. I'll include them in the description if you want to know why I think that. But basically, it's confusing that if Cracker had won, then we should expect that he would have reported back to Big Mom saying that he won, given that by this point in time in the story, when we get back to Whole Cake Island as of chapter 838, go back to Big Mom, and Big Mom discusses events with her hat, then by that point in time, Cracker should already have reported back to her if he had won, given Luffy was using Gear 4th and it has a time limit, which kind of suggests that he didn't win. But again, the other question that's related to this is that Big Mom, again, should already know that Cracker lost, given that all the homies are present and were able to observe the events that happened in the forest, and they should know what exactly happened between Luffy and Cracker. And this is doubly important if her intel network is highly reliant on her homies reporting to her the events that are going around her islands. So if Cracker has been defeated, why doesn't Big Mom know? Well, it suggests the homies didn't report it to her, and the reason why they could have possibly not done this is because of Nami and Lola's Viva card. As of chapter 838, it's revealed that the homies are more scared of Nami than they are Big Mom or Brûlé. Now, while I think this is part joke, I think there's some truth to this as well, which is that I think that at this point in time, Nami has at least some control over the homies in the forest. And so the reason why Big Mom doesn't know what's going on in the forest, and this might actually seriously concern her, and explain sort of some of the facial reactions of the Hat as he's explaining this to Big Mom about how, well, it's impossible for Cracker to have lost. They lost, it's once you sent Cracker there, then their defeat was guaranteed. So Big Mom doesn't know what's going on in the forest because Nami right now has control over the homies, which have not yet reported back to Big Mom. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for you for this video. The first part of this, I think, is extremely obvious now. Big Mom has the ability to obtain information through her homies. They report to her, and that's why she knows pretty much everything, at least on her islands, and potentially as well overseas as well, because we do see that some of these creations are tourists, as we could see with the cream puffs or whatever they were, the croquembouche. This explains Big Mom's network, and then given this information, it adds and sheds light potentially on other things that could be potentially important in the future. But let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree or disagree and why. Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd appreciate it if you subscribed, and as always, dudes, have a wonderful day.